Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Brian Choper with the Business of Music radio show, TBMRadioshow.com, episode 6, where we are talking about the Brian Choper Jazz Project with Peter Cannella. And we just had a very successful show at the Harrah's in Philadelphia. With me today is Mickey Hill.
Hi, this is Mickey Hill.
And it's Lou Durham.
Hi, Lou Durham here.
And we also would like to introduce our special guest, Peter Cannella.
Hey, everybody.
Hi, Peter.
Good to
Welcome.
be on the show.
Hey, Peter.
Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
All right.
It's a pleasure.
It's a pleasure to have you on. So, Peter Cannella is signed with Big Shot Records as a singer. His focus right now is on Frank Sinatra. He also does Dean Martin, Michael Bublé, and other singers of that era. And we're going to get into that. Mickey, did you have questions at all?
I did have a few questions, but I just wanted to tell Peter how impressed I am with his singing. When I first heard you, I was just in awe. I mean, I was just sitting there like, wow, I can't believe this. But I'm very impressed with you. You're so awesome, and it's just wonderful to see, and wonderful to see live as well.
Ah. Well, there you go.
Thanks, Mickey. I appreciate that.
And Peter, you know, I really wish I could have been with you on that show. I came into this very late, and I was part of all those rehearsals and all the hard work that went into putting together what I understand was a just fantastic show, and really wanted to be there.
The announcement today, I guess, would be that Lou Durham is now music director for the company, and he is also the keyboard player for the band.
Jazz Project.
For the Jazz Projects. And so he was not on the show that we just did because he had a conflict.
I was doing a musical.
Yes, that's a conflict.
That would be a conflict, yeah.
So, but he's done with that, and now he's with us doing this, and he sees, I think you see, a lot of where this is going.
I see a lot of exciting possibilities.
Right.
I mean, Peter, we have talked. You are a singer in the style of the greats, and you have talked about wanting to do more music that is from the 60s, 70s, 80s, even now, but doing it in a way that people aren't doing it, and that is doing it in the era sound. I mean, I have taken a couple of songs that you have mentioned to me, a Doors tune, Riders on the Storm, and I have arranged that for you and done it in a way that it's going to swing. And I don't know if people are going to be very surprised when they get a chance to hear what you're doing. And I'm very excited about all the possibilities that we have in our near future.
Now Peter's a writer, and Lou is a writer-arranger, and I am an arranger too. And so we've collaborated, and really what everyone's going to see is yes, we're talking about a concert that focused a little bit on, as Peter said, his favorite Sinatra music. Sure. But what's coming up next is going to be a little bit of a hybrid, I'd almost say. Things that sound like that period music, but original music or rearrangements of music. In fact, one of the tunes that we did at the Block was Me and Mrs. Jones. And now that I'm thinking about that Lou actually rearranged himself.
Sure.
And we're going to be recording that in the studio probably in the next 3 weeks.
That's great.
So as much as people are thinking of Peter as simply a Frank Sinatra singer, you know, as unique as that is, there's other music now that we're beginning to bring forward. One of the things that this reminds me of is that when we were rehearsing this band, we had a lot of dedicated players with this group, and Lou was there at every rehearsal, even though he couldn't do the show because as music director he was coaching everything from the horns to the rhythm section, and we were playing the music or trying to rearrange it, charts that were worked out as 17-piece band charts and rearranging them as 8-piece band charts. And that was a dog.
That's a difficult, daunting task.
Yes.
Sure.
And as hard as it is to do that with the rhythm section, to do that with the horn section means rewrites.
But Brian, how did you work your rehearsals? Because all of your musicians are not local.
We have a studio in Baltimore.
Okay.
And every Sunday January and through part of February. We were there rehearsing this and working it out and getting the parts right. What people will hear sounds like a simple band concert. It was a lot of work to put together, and you had to find, players, good players, who understood the music of the period too. In fact, it took me 8 months to understand the style of the drumming, because I didn't know that I'd be drumming for the band, but it worked out that's what we did. Right. What's interesting about the block is that when they did the sound check, after we tried to, in a conservative way, learn all of the music that we needed to learn for this, in the period of the style of the period. For instance, the drums are a subdued, laid back feel. But when we came to the block, I realized that it's almost a rock hall. So I instructed the horns to follow me, and we created a sound that's more like a big band, more like a rock sound playing jazz.
Well, they were miking you in that fashion. They weren't miking you as if you were playing in 1945 or 1950. You were being mic'd as if you were playing a rock set, although you were playing a jazz set.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And consequently, we were hitting it pretty hard, but then the audience just loved it.
How did it feel to you, Peter? I mean, it must have been a difference.
It felt good because people were there to see a concert. They were there to be entertained,
and the whole vibe just exploded.
In order for this music to continue, and to continue in the future, it's always been adjusted. You have the 30s sound nothing like the 40s, 40s sound nothing like the 50s, 50s sound nothing like the 60s. But sometime during the 70s, it kind of didn't change anymore. It became real conservative and less progressive. And what we did is we took that and progressed it to today's times with how the rhythm section sound, without changing the music. People were dancing and they were appreciating it for what it was, and there was a lot of oomph and a lot of rhythm, and the bass was up and everything, and it was almost like a club. And people were up dancing,
which is
and they had
very, very different vibe for a casino. Man, I spent so much of my life working casinos, Peter, and sometimes music or concerts are simply just a sidestep for people who are there simply to gamble. And if you can get their attention and create the kind of excitement that I understand that this concert created, that's a beautiful thing.
You know what I just realized? When I'm talking to seniors before this, and I told them about what we were doing, they were excited, but only in a limited way, because they are thinking, well, I saw Frank Sinatra, the real Frank Sinatra, okay? Or I saw Tony Bennett, the real Tony Bennett. What I see now is a band that is morphing into something that is a little bit more modern, where we're not necessarily playing the pieces. We're playing them with so much more energy and excitement than you heard them played before. I had actually never heard a band do or perform with the same sound that we played at the block. I didn't expect it. And I realize now this band live is actually not going to sound like a 40s band. It's going to sound like a modern band playing music of the period, but killing it with what they do, not worried about coming out and making a party of it. How's that for it?
Making a party of it and not trying to be something that you're not. I mean, we are not all 80 years old here.
Right.
And we're playing the music the way that we have become artists. I mean, we are influenced by everything that we listen to and that we practice.
Right.
And Peter, you have gone through the pains, I understand, of hitting the clubs and doing the work that you have to do to get into a position to make the next step, to go to the next level. And I think you're ready to go, man.
And you know what I think? I think that to give people an idea, why don't we take a minute here and play Fly Me to the Moon from the concert?
That's a great idea.
And let people hear what we're talking about from the period. So let's go ahead and put that on.
Excellent.
And we'll be back in a few minutes.
Fly me to the moon, let me play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. In other words, hold my hand. In other words, baby, kiss me. Fill my heart with song and let me sing forevermore. You are all I long for, all I worship and adore. In other words, please be true. In other words, I love you. Hey! Song, let me sing forevermore. You are all I long for, all I worship and adore. In other words, please be true. In other words, I love you.
Okay, we just heard Fly Me to the Moon, and if you would like to hear more music, you can go to bigshotrecords.com, the Chopra Jazz Project. Peter, since we have you here, and it's so exciting to have you on the line, this show was a sold-out show. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. It's so exciting. I've heard you sing. I'm so excited about it. And I'm happy that you're here, that, you know, you didn't have to come all the way to D.C. to speak with us. Technology is wonderful. But the show at the Block was a sold-out show. What was going on in your mind when you saw the people just waiting to hear you perform?
Well, when I looked out the stage and I saw, we were expecting initially 200 people. So when we doubled that, just from before we started, I looked out in the audience and I seen that the whole place was filled up.
Because people were coming in as a show, but it started out with a crowd.
Yeah. And then we ended up going way over the expectation of this show. We actually beat out a lot of main acts that they've had the past few months prior to us. Yes. It was one of the best shows they had in 3 months, they said.
Wow.
And they have legitimate signed artists that are there every week. So it was really, really surprising that all these people were there to see this show. I guess, you know, I kind of always called it because I knew that a lot of people had a thirst for this kind of music, and it's really not out there. So when there's a chance to see something like this, you see all these people go and they jump at it.
Right.
It's definitely unique.
And
I just want to say one thing, Peter. I heard you say legitimate artist. You are legit.
Yeah.
You are genuine. You are unique.
Yeah.
And it's special what you're doing. And you're a young man, and you're doing great things with music that needs to live.
Yes.
So you are legit, man.
Yes.
Now I want to.
Well, thanks, Lou.
I want to make sure we take a moment to thank all the fans.
Sure.
Rotation Records for having us there. I think that we blew that away too. I think they didn't realize how this was going to work and how it was going to turn out. And if anyone wants to follow this, again, fans seem to have gone onto Facebook very enthusiastically about this. I believe they can even go onto TBMRadioshow.com and enter the information in there, their name and email address, and we'll keep them posted about the CD sales as well as video of this. and other projects that we're working on and future shows. So I want to make sure that they understand that too. Peter, I'm sure you have people you want to go ahead.
Yeah, I want to thank the band first. Let's thank, we had Ron Pruitt on alto, Ron Chatterjee on tenor, baritone, and flute, Roop Chatterjee on trombone, Dave McNally on bass, Scott Lerner on guitar, Harry Appleman on piano. We had you on drums, and I think that's everybody.
Right.
Unless I'm forgetting someone. And let's thank them because they all went to rehearsals. And
yes.
And Lou, I'd like to thank you also for putting your time out.
Yes.
For making this thing happen. We couldn't do it without the musicians.
I appreciate that.
And I want to thank Jim Console, who's actually one of the guys who I believe he's an engineer, but he also handles, he was a liaison for us at the Block, who helped coordinate all of the ins and outs and made it easy for the show just to go smooth and the communications. So I wanted to do that. Peter, if there's another track from the show for people to hear, what would it be?
I would say "Feeling Good." I think people would really like that song.
So can we put "Feeling Good" on?
I'd say let them hear that.
Let's put "Feeling Good" on. Give people a couple of minutes of this so they can really understand what we're talking about, and we'll be right back.
And I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. A fish in the sea, you know how I feel. River running free, you know how I feel. Blossom on a tree, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me, and I'm feeling good. Dragonfly out in the sun, you know what I mean, don't you know? Butterflies all having fun, you know what I mean. Sleep in peace when day is done, that's what I mean. And this old world is a new world and a bold world.
And the song you just heard was Feeling Good. And I hope all of you are feeling good because we are so excited, so happy to have Peter here, but also the band is awesome because I did have the opportunity to hear the band. I will have the opportunity to hear them again now that Lou is on board.
Sure.
That's very exciting as well. Lou is very talented. Peter, the whole band, all of the musicians, even the audience is great. Mm-hmm. It's such a great atmosphere, and I really enjoyed myself when I was there. So, Peter, what would you say was the best song of the evening, the song that the people reacted to the most during the show at the Block?
I would say the usual cliches, they call them.
Mm-hmm.
The songs that are so loved by people that they just become like, as common as a catchphrase, So New York, New York, people loved it. Mm-hmm. My Way, mm-hmm. people loved it. Mm-hmm. Feeling Good, they loved it. Mm-hmm. Luck Be a Lady, they loved it.
Is Tender Trap a classic?
And actually,
is Tender Trap
it's,
one of those?
Well, that's kind of, I wouldn't say it's a hit, but,
Okay.
It's a cool song. That's why I picked it, because it's kind of not an overdone song.
That's one of my
favorites. There are a few
actually.
songs that were not overdone.
Right. The Tender Trap is actually one of my favorites.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised that others don't know
it's
that.
It's a cool melody.
Mm-hmm. A lot of these
and
songs, too,
I Left
Peter.
My Heart in San Francisco was very well.
Mm-hmm. I think a lot of these songs, too, man, they come from movies.
Well, no, wait a minute. Weren't they?
Yeah, that's
forgive me if I'm naive here, but let me be naive for a second. I thought these were written initially for. Weren't a lot of these? Were these written for Frank, or were these written for movies, or were they written for Frank, who put them in movies?
Well, for example, Peter said the first song he ever sang in Okinawa, he sang "All the Way." All the Way is like the main song of a movie called. Oh, geez, it just flew right out of my brain, Peter. You know what I'm talking about.
The Joker is wild.
The Joker is wild.
The Joker is wild.
But you're saying the song was not written for the movie?
I'm not sure if the song was written
That song was written for Sinatra.
Oh.
It was written for that movie and for Sinatra to sing.
Right.
I think
in the movie.
He at least made a hit out of it.
But
and maybe it was around before, but
okay.
That song was used by Sinatra for that movie and to put out on the radio.
So how many songs
So
this confuses me a little bit, because I've heard these in the movies and I assumed that they wrote the song for the movie and then brought Frank Sinatra to sing it. But it wasn't necessarily. Go ahead.
It just depends on the song. Like, for example, All the Way was for a movie, but then you have Come Fly With Me that was strictly for the radio. It's supposed to be a radio. It wasn't for a movie. Not that I know of, anyway.
Okay.
I don't know any move with that in there.
Okay.
And then you have My Way. It was written as a song just to be a hit song. But then you got Luck Be a Lady that comes from the Marlon Brando movie, Guys and Dolls, with Sinatra.
Okay.
He just sang whatever he could.
Yeah.
Really. He took any song. He did Being Green after Kermit the Frog did it.
That is true.
Okay, but wasn't that more? Wouldn't you call people? People may not know. I did not know before this project how chameleon-like Frank was. Okay, the others were Dean Martin. He was a comedian to me. I saw him. I always thought he was a jokester who sang, and he was so damn talented that he could sing. Even holding, I don't know if it was a club soda or a whiskey, or what he was doing, but he was always like pretending to be drinking or really drinking. Tripping over the piano, whatever doing, but singing great. Okay,
right.
And Sammy Davis Jr. was like that too.
Sure, he was.
Okay, so Sinatra's a chameleon character. A lot of songs he did, from the ballad to the more peppy tune, he did because he felt he had to reinvent himself. But what you're saying is that the movies he was in. A lot of those things were done where they liked the song and then wrote him into the movie because they liked the song?
Maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
But,
no, he just like Luck Be a Lady, he didn't sing it in the movie. He sang it afterward. He sang it a few years afterward. Marlon Brando sang it.
Okay.
He just sang whatever he liked. And a lot of songs came from movies.
You know, Peter.
But then he had there were songs that were specific, and All the Way is a specific song that was for his Sinatra movie.
Got it.
And Peter, for him to sing.
Peter, it occurs to me.
Not all the songs were that way.
It occurs to me, Peter, that what you're trying to do as we move this music into a new genre almost, I mean, we're choosing songs that are not.
You're actually we're taking the music and we're not just leaving it for the seniors.
Exactly. Yeah. We're taking music that comes from the age group of 35 to 55. And we're
40s,
pulling it into
30s
that.
and 40s.
Which, if you will recognize, Frank Sinatra did that with a Jim Croce tune called Bad Bad Leroy Brown. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, he comes up with a song which had been a mega hit with the soft rock scene. And he did it in a way that was of that era, of the era that he was known for. And people loved it. And then right after that, Peter, isn't that when... the album All the Blue Eyes is back with Let Me Try Again and all those tunes that he came out with in the 70s. And so he hit a whole new audience. I mean, he just kicked it in the high gear when he should have been going fishing.
Now, the interesting thing about what you're talking about here is that we've basically put this music together and created a show that does not just cater to the seniors.
Exactly.
And that may be why we had so many people at the show, because I saw people of all ages. I saw families there. Okay, so one of the things that I looked at as owner of Big Shot is how did all this come to be and how did all this connect? You had Rotation Records that was promoting it. You had The Block that was promoting it. You had Big Shot Records that was promoting it, and everything connected.
Social media?
The social media.
Yes.
Yes. And that's where our friends and fans can help us too, right? I mean,
the marketing is very important, and some of the things that we talked about in past episodes, as you can see, Brian and all of the musicians have practiced this. So we're not just speaking about it, it's actually being practiced. You can actually see it being done. You can hear it. You can see it. And they practice all of the things that we've talked about. And it's a lesson to see that it does work.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. We actually have Facebook pages that we built for to promote this. And you can get connected to that by going to, I guess, TBM radioshow.com or to bigshotrecords.com. You'll see information on all of that too. One of the things that we want to make sure people do is, if you enjoy watching the band, or if you enjoy following the band, please go to the Facebook pages, like us, tell your friends to like us, and sign up for information so that we can tell you when things are going on and when the next shows are going to be coming up.
In fact, Brian, we have 2 shows to talk about for the Joper Jazz Project. Leisure World, April 22nd at 8:30 p.m. That's in Leisure World, Maryland. And May 14th at Indie Music in Baltimore, Maryland at 8:30 p.m.
Uh-huh.
So for those of you who love live music like I love live music, you definitely should come out and check out the Joper Jazz Project.
For those who did not want to go all the way to Philadelphia to see the concert there, they now have 2 opportunities here to see them in venues right at home, and that's going to be unique because we're focused really on up north, and so if you are looking at this band and you want to see it live, these are 2 unique opportunities to come out and see the group.
So what about the CD? Isn't there a soundtrack from the band?
Yes. In fact, we have a new CD on Amazon and iTunes. And to make it easy, you can go to choperjazzproject.com. That's CHOPER, choperjazzproject.com. Now, for any of you who like trinkets and swag, we have a T-shirt, a cool T-shirt that has both artwork on front and back. It's for the fans of the band and people who just want to take something with them. And that link to that store is also on tbmradioshow.com. Yes. So,
Peter, is there anyone else that you would like to thank while we're here?
Yeah, just a shout out to Joe Staber and David Arajo for putting that show together and making all that stuff happen. And thanks to you, Brian.
Thank you. Yes.
And Mickey for having me on here, and Brian for all the faith you have in me to put this together.
We do.
Yes, Peter, it's going to be a pleasure to work with you.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that, Lou.
Go ahead, Mickey.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you for speaking with us today.
Yes. If there's a song that you could pick for us to go out with, what would it be?
I guess, give them what they want. Do New York, New York.
Ha ha ha. There you go.
Okay. All right. This is Brian Choper,
Mickey Hill,
Lou Durham,
with guest Peter Cannella. Thank you all for listening to our 6th episode of thebusinessofmusicradio.com. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Good night.
These vagabond shoes are longing to stray right through the very heart of it. New York, New York. I want to wake up in a city that never sleeps and find I'm king of the hill, top of the heap. These little town blues, where's Mark at? Are melting away. I'll make a brand new start of it in old New York. If I can make it there, I'll make it anywhere. It's up to you.